Hello everyone, my name is Maria and this is Knitting as Therapy, my knitting podcast, episode number 15. I filmed my latest podcast over 2 months ago, so I have lots of news to share, some finished objects, works in progress, and a little bit of acquisitions and plans that I have to share with you today. And we're gonna start right with my recent and the most noticeable finished object. It's a Tanto sweater by Knitsoever. I made it as a part of a testing group, so the yarn was sponsored by Lang Yarns. It was Venus yarn. It's like half wool, half cotton blend, and the pattern was also uh, given to me for free for testing. So that's the result. I made size 7 for myself in this kind of sky blue, I would say, on 4mm needles. So the sweater is completely brioche. It's, I guess, some kind of changed brioche pattern. So creates this chest order of brioche stitches. Also, it's brioche ribbing on cuffs and on hem as well. I was making size 7, so in result I got really oversized fit of this sweater. Probably you can see it goes really well with my high-waisted jeans. Also the sleeves are quite long. But I like such lengths for those. For the collar, it's a regular ribbon, but it also depends on the knitter. Some of testing group participants were making this also in brioche. In my case, it's a regular 1x1 ribbon, but I think that it works well in both cases, like in a regular ribbon or in brioche. I like both. Getting into construction, that's a drop shoulder construction. So we start on the back doing some short row shaping and some armhole increases. Then we got to the front part. Everything is really detailedly specified in the pattern, especially the main and the most important thing there is all the increases for the neck and for the armholes as well, to make it work well with this brioche pattern, so to make it look nice. Same for the decreases on the sleeves, it works really well. Also there is one more option in the pattern provided, so you can do like a regular sweater fit, or you can do it with side slits, even with zipper included, and there are some instructions how to do it properly. And to make like the front and back parts separately, a bit longer comparing to my option. So I was doubting till the very end if I want to make the sweater with the slits or without, but I decided to go without. One more interesting thing that I wanted to specify, as it's Valentina's, the designer name, first pattern, I was glad to support her with this pattern, and she put lots of effort into all the details that are provided in the pattern, and there are all the possible instructions, I would say. And also there is really nice design, so it's not a regular Word file. She added lots of different pictures and created really nice and comfortable to work with pattern structure. So this one is already available on her Ravelry page. I will put those all in the description to this video. So the next one that I showed in the previous podcast, I had only one sock finished, but I've already finished both of those during this pause in my filming. It's Starry Socks by KroopaKnits. That's a colorwork socks made using two colors of Lamana Merida yarn. There is a little bit of silk in that composition, merino wool and nylon as well, so that's a sock-based yarn. I had those in 01. It's like a off-white color, and it's 41 for a blue one. Yeah, so I made size large to make sure that it will fit the recipient well. I've told lots in the previous episode already, as far as I remember, and the only thing that I would change here probably that I'd make the ribbon on top of the sock a little bit thicker, using two strands of this yarn because of the silk part in this composition of yarn. It made it a little bit too loose. So probably some elastic may be needed because the ribbon just cannot hold its shape properly. That's the only thing that I can say about the socks that I would change. But I love the design. I love all the colorwork designs by KroopaKnits. I haven't plans to make one more. Generally, I love the idea of having a little bit of silk in the sock, like for the sock yarn, as I believe that it can help to avoid peeling after a while, comparing to some regular wool sock blends. So the next one we will talk about is storm sweater. As you can see, it's quite light version, I would say, because for PetiteKnit version, she proposes to make using pure Ghent yarn. It's quite thick Norwegian wool, and the amount of yarn for the men version, this one was kind of adaptation for the men sweater. There is around 700, 800 grams, so quite a lot of yarn needed to make it in that version. But I decided to go in a little bit different direction. I used bobbin yarn. It's called Prisma. The yarn type of this, it like poofs a lot after blocking, after washing, so it's very thin yarn that grows after blocking a lot and fills all the gaps. So it's very nice yarn for color work, for example. And the composition is 85% merino, 15% cashmere yarn, and also I hold it with a thin strand of 90% merino, 10% cashmere yarn. So the main one was 400 meters per 100 grams, and another one was a little bit over 1000 meters per 100 grams. So I used a little bit more than 100 grams for the whole sweater of this additional yarn to make sure that I will meet gauge. So the final weight of the sweater is 450 grams. For the whole length, for the men's version, it's a little bit over 60 centimeters for the body. So I made this one for chest circumference 95 centimeters, and I have compared specifications for the men sweater pattern and woman version. So the main difference there was the amount of repeats of these blocks of the pattern and the positive ease. The gauge was the same, recommended yarn as well. So I decided not to buy a men version of the pattern and just adapt the one that I already have. So I managed to meet the gauge properly, and then we were discussing with my husband now. So we have just recently married, so I was making this as his birthday gift as well. We stopped on the positive is that he wants to get in result. It was size small for the woman version, because there is like around 30 centimeters of positive ease for woman version. For man version it's a little bit less, but I'm not sure about the numbers. So this is what we got in result. It fits well, and the chest circumference here is around 105 centimeters, I would say. Yeah, so you can see the amount of repeats that I made here. You can just change the length of the sweater for your man if you want to make also the same like version of the sweater as mine. You just add a few more repeats and that's it. Same for the sleeves. It works also well. Yeah, the only thing that I have added here, I've put some elastic in the collar to make it fit better comparing to how it looked before. And this is it for the storm sweater man adaptation, how I call it. The next finished object that I have already gifted as well as the Starry socks, it was Stokholm Hat by PetiteKnit. I made this one for my mom. It's a 1x1 ribbed hat with quite an interesting crown that I wanted to create, so I didn't want to do some mess for the crown. That's why I decided to buy the pattern. I was making it using 4mm needles, and the yarn was Yarn Art Merino, Imperial Merino yarn. It's 125 meters per 50 grams skin. I have used around 90 grams of the yarn for the full hat. So I'm not sure that the pattern was needed because there is only one universal size of the hat in the pattern, providing like same amount of stitches for any size. The only difference there is like the length of the ribbon you do before doing these decreases for the crown. So I think you can handle it using, I don't know, Oslo hat pattern, checking the amount of stitches there, or checking your gauge and head circumference. Not sure that the pattern was needed overall, but it made it easier a bit for me to make the hat. But based on the head circumference, I've made the length that was provided in the pattern before starting the decreases for the head crown, and in result, after I finished the head and my mom tried it on, it was not enough. So I had to go back and change something, and I decided instead of frogging it, I was doing this kind of surgery on the head. And overall, the idea seemed fine for me, but I have not done it before. So it was the first time I was doing this knitting surgery for the garment. Yeah, so ideally, all the instructions are for the stockinette. And I realized it after a while that for the ribbon, it's a bit different. For stockinette, the only thing that everyone specify in their instructions is to be cautious about the tension when you are doing the Kitchener stitches, sewing it all together back after all the changes that you needed to do. And for the ribbed version that was on the head, it was very hard to handle the tension because I had 4 pairs of needles inserted in the head. So there was like one for the knit stitches, another one for the purl stitches on one piece of the head that I separated, and another one was on the next part also for the knit and purl stitches. So I needed to Kitchener those together, firstly for the knit stitches and then on the other back like for a purl, but on that side it was also like a knit stitches. So quite an adventure there, and I completely failed the tension. First of all, then I was trying to stretch it, fix it somehow. So overall, it's fine because it's hidden under the brim, so you can't see it. But I know that it was complete failure. Most likely now I will need to frog the whole piece and redo it from the very beginning. It's not a fault of the pattern because I just had to try it on more and to figure out the height of the brim that I wanted and take into consideration the stretch of the ribbon, that it will change the height of the head, etc. But it was very interesting experience and nice practice because I would not want to have this experience with some sweater, for example. It's better to start it with something smaller, and the hat was really nice opportunity to try to do this kind of knitting surgery. Yeah, so that's his the story of behind this Stockholm hat that I recently finished. And the next one finished object that I have, it's Hexie Diamond Socks by Nancy Wheeler. It's a pattern from 52 Weeks of Socks. I wanted to start making some socks from this book. It was presented on my birthday this summer, and I wanted to start with colorwork socks, but I failed the tension there a bit, and there are like 4 colors involved. So I just need to try again, but for now it's on pause, and that's why I moved to these Hexie Diamond Socks. Those are finished already, so I have 2 of them here. It's a top-down, cuff-down socks made in such Bordeaux color, I would say. The yarn that I used is 4 Seasons Grundle Hot Socks Pearl yarn in color 14, so such a Bordeaux shade. The socks I made in size 2 using 2.5mm needles, so there is a regular 1x1 ribbon with the Italian custom. Yeah, and there are such a diamond parts, diamond hexes, and one of those is with a stockinette inside, and another one is with garter stitches inside. So a little bit like interesting design, but overall it was quite easy to do, and also with a slip stitch heel, the common one for the socks. So this is probably it for this one. The only thing here is this yarn includes some cashmere in it, so it's full nylon blend with 8% of cashmere here. So we will see how it will work with wearing and how much peeling I will have after all. We'll keep you updated with this one. So that was it for the knitted garments and accessories, and I have a few more crocheted ones to share as well. So I was a bit into crocheting in the end of the summer, beginning of autumn. So I saw a nice kind of basket bag by Alexandra Tavel, and I wanted to make something similar to that one. So this is the result. I think it looks really nice, even a bit kind of store-bought. Now it's filled with some yarn that I haven't stashed because it's really like summer bag a bit. So I'm not sure that I will be able to wear it soon, but it's now used for some knitting or crocheting projects. I have added leather bottom here and leather straps. The plan is also to add some lining inside of it. There is no lining for now, but I want to have it with some pockets maybe, so I still have some time to do it before the next summer. So I found the YouTube video for creating nice crocheted rows around this bottom part with some slip stitches to hide the holes. And then I've also googled this pattern to make it look nicer. Also following some YouTube video, I don't even remember each of those, but I can try to find and to add it to the description to my video. Yeah, so that's probably it for this one. The total weight of this bag, like for the yarn that I used here, is around 600 or 700 grams of yarn. It's yarn art begonia. I hold it as a 3 strands together, and the whole bag was made using 4mm hook. Yeah, so that's the result so far. I'm not a big crocheter, but I just wanted to have something nice like that. And the yarn, you can see it looks like a linen shade of it. So I think it's a very nice one for the summer. One more crochet project that I made, it's this little bucket. It's called Sunflower Basket. Now I saved some yarn here. That's a leftover of this project and one skein for my other project. So there are probably some mistakes here, especially for the bottom part, but I like how it looks. I had all of these yarns in my stash. It's yarn art jeans yarn. It's quite thick one. I made this one also using 4mm hook. Probably I will make few more, maybe some, I don't know, cup pots to have for the serving, I don't know. So I just loved how it looks and I loved these sunflower parts in it. And I have the last crocheted experimental project that I made. It's such a table mat, also with the same yarn that I used for the bag. It's 100% cotton yarn. I used a yarn art begonia hold double here, and I've made only 2 of those because I didn't have enough yarn for that. Overall, it's enough to have like 100 grams, 2 skeins of the yarn to make one table mat. Overall, it's 37 centimeters diameter, so enough to have it to place on the table. I made 2 of those, one using 5mm hook and another one using 4mm hook. And the only difference here, I was just following regularly, crocheting in circle recommendations. And for the 4mm hook, I just needed to make 1 or 2 rows more to get the needed diameter for those. And I've washed them already once, and the one that was made with 5mm hook is a little bit too loose, especially after washing, so I think it's better to do it with 4mm hook to make it a little bit tighter and to make it look nicer, I think. Yeah, so that was the last finished object that I have for today, and we can move to some works in progress. Before we start talking about all the works in progress that I have, I wanted also to share an interesting piece that I've received recently from my friend. She is doing some painting on the clothing, like jeans jackets, for example, or some bags, and I asked her to paint my project bag. So that's how it looks. I asked her to put some knitting related design, and that's a leather bag that I'm using for some socks or some smaller projects. Probably I can fit lots more in here, but I have not just tested it yet. So that's very nice opportunity to add some branded painting into your clothing or into your bags or into your crafting pieces. I will add to the description below all the details where you can find her and find her art and crafting on her page in Instagram, and also she is US based, so you are free to contact her directly and ask about implementing some of your ideas or ask her for help to implement something you have in mind but are not sure about the idea that you would like to add to your clothing or some accessories. And we are moving into some projects that I work on so far. So here is the biggest one. I've started it in spring, I guess. That's Malou dress designed by Sandnesgarn. I'm making it using Soave Pima by Mondial yarn. It's alpaca merino chained yarn. So the main part is done already, and currently I'm just working on the skirt. Not sure that if you are able to see a lot here. This one is made on 4mm needles, and for the skirt I have like doubled the amount of stitches that I had for the upper part. It's a bit oversized, as you can see, but I like it, and it's high-waisted, so currently probably it's around my hips, and there are lots of work needed to be done. The plan is just to knit it until I have some yarn to work with. Here are some markers. Those are used for marking the amount of rows that you worked, but I'm marking like every 10 centimeters. So you can see that I've recently passed 20 centimeters length of the skirt. I have around 4 or 5 more skeins to work on, so I think that I will be happy with the length. There is no rush here, I'm just working on it when I need some stockinette to work on. It's a little bit hard to take it somewhere with me because of the weight and the amount of space this dress needs already, so that's why I'm able to work on it at home, but when I'm selecting some project to work on at home, I'm selecting something a little bit more complicated comparing to some regular stockinette. And that's it for this one. The next project we will talk about it's Boixac Socks by Elena Solier Jansà. I hope it's pronounced well. That's the design also from 52 Weeks of Socks. It incorporates such a beautiful flower part. Let me show you on another one. So there is such a beautiful flower design in it. I just hope that you can see something here. For me, it looks like some tulips, I guess, but I think I've checked the name of the socks, and this Boixac is a name of a flower already. So I'm making this one toe up, as you can see, using 2.5mm needles. One is already done. I'm making this in size large. So working on the second one already, and I am making it using this beautiful hand-dyed yarn by Kostrich. Not sure about the name of it because I bought it a while ago and forgot the name of it, but it feels like very spring coloring. It has these beautiful speckles on top of like the main off-white with some greens color, so it's very spring feeling for me. That's why I selected this yarn for this specific pattern. I just felt the connection between those two and decided to make it using this exact yarn. Hand dyer of this yarn is adding really like nice smelling, I don't know, what aromatizer to make it smell nice while you are working on it. That's one more thing that I like about these yarns. It's very soft. It's merino nylon blend. So I have few more skeins of yarn from this dyer and can't wait to start one more socks using this yarn. Moving on to the next work in progress, it's Maggie West. Not sure if you can say a lot from this part. So I have made quite deep armholes for making sure that I will be able to wear it as a layering piece. Make sure that I will be able to wear it with shirt. I made such a deep armholes, and also there will be some ribbon added here, so it will be not as wide as it looks now. I'm making this one in size medium on 4mm needles, also for having like a thicker version of Maggie West. I am done with the body so far, and the rest of work shouldn't take lots of time for me, so I hope to have it done really soon. I'm making this one using Vivchari Merino. It's Merino Victoria yarn in such a faded green color. I'm holding it double. It's 750 meters per 100 grams. That's why I decided to hold it double. And also there is additional strand of silk mohair yarn by Knitting for Olive in Dusty Sea green color. I had some left over from the cardigans that I made before and decided to use it up for the vest. That's it for this one so far. The next project that we will talk about is the one that I was waiting for a bit to start. I had the pattern for it a few months waiting. Also, I had some yarn, but I was just waiting for the proper module to start it. It's Pole Cardigan by Morecaknits. I wanted to make some beautiful with an interesting construction red cardigan, so that's the part of it that I already have. For the body, this one is made using 4mm needles. It's Tulano Harmony merino yarn. It's 4 strands hold together to create something closer to fingering weight yarn. And also one more strand here is it's Lanificio del Olivo Yukon yarn. It's baby alpaca, kid mohair, and some acrylic. 1,500 meters per 100 grams, just for adding some halo to the yarn, to the merino one. So I think lots of you have already heard a lot about this construction. You start here mid-back. Probably you can see this like sewed part in between. You start with one part. There is also this shoulder part that will continue into the sleeve later on. Here is the provisional custom that I'm using for like next part when I will continue with the sleeves. Same here. then these two pieces are knitted together using like 3 needles technique, and then you start working on the back, doing some armhole increases, then 2 front parts here are picked up as well, and finally like both of those, and finally you connect it in round and continue in stockinette. So the hardest part was already done, and the next part will be stockinette only. So we will see how it will go, but I love the result already. I'm making size small. It's the second one in the pattern. It's already including like quite a lot of positive ease, around 20 centimeters of positive ease, but I just wanted to be sure that it will be like quite relaxed, oversized fitted cardigan. I'm going to make it quite short to work well with some dress or high-waisted jeans. That's why I think this like main body part will not be extremely long comparing to the sweaters that I'm oftenly making really long. And that's probably it for the pole cardigan. The next one is cardigan number 6. That's the result that I have after, I guess, 3 evenings, just because I wanted to start this one so badly that I just bought the pattern and decided to start working on it. So it's already connected in round even, but just with like 2 rows. You start here with the back part using 3 strands of silk mohair. The recommended one is knitted for olive silk mohair, but I had a big cone called Principino. It's 68 silk mohair, 25 silk, and 7% merino wool yarn. It's thicker version of silk mohair. It's 370 meters per 100 grams, and that's why I decided that it will work well. And I was like monitoring different options for the silk mohair cardigans without any merino, and I wanted it to be like flowy, breezy, quite an oversized cardigan. And finally I found this one with such a lacing, so it's very breathable but still warm. Yeah, and I started this one. I decided to go up in a needle size, so I'm making this one using 7mm needles. That's how I managed to meet the gauge here, but not sure that it will be a problem if the gauge will be a little bit off, because I selected size large to make it like extremely oversized, and for being sure also selected a little bit bigger needles to make it work well. You can see that there's like a huge halo on this one, so I think it will just be a gorgeous piece to have. So I have started like a rectangular bag, made it to the needed length with some increases for the armholes. Then I've made 2 front pieces as well with some increases for the armholes and also for some V-shaping for the front parts that I will work on a little bit later on to add some buttons here. I'm still thinking about the buttons that will work well here on this one, maybe some like metallic ones or with the same color as the cardigan is. It's like a faded blue, I think. So I probably have only half of the body for now, but still lots of work needed to be done here to have the final garment. Yeah, so this is it for the cardigan number 6 by my favorite since knitwear, and it's the last work in progress that I had to share with you today. Talking about some acquisitions and plans, so as you already saw, the main acquisition was this project bag with hand painting. I have some plans for some gift knits and also some kind of, if it's not too late, for autumn/winter knitting plans. So I guess I will create a separate video to go over all of those. Also, I have an idea of making some Christmas gifts video ideas. It will be also useful for myself to think about the opportunities that I have to make for my friends and family for Christmas. We don't have lots of time for that one, of course, but still it can be useful to check all the recent designs. I saw Knitting for Olive Christmas sweater arrived recently. So yeah, there are lots of opportunities for us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me for the whole video. Leave your comments, leave your likes, and don't forget to follow for more videos coming really soon. Thank you. Bye bye.